Hi, the last video I put up was a resume of my favourite pictures for 2021, and that got me thinking about what I should be doing with this channel going forward. I started out putting up a few video clips of wildlife in the local park I frequent, and then I went on to put up a few videos about opinion pieces where my views maybe differ somewhat from a lot of the common points of view expressed on YouTube. I put up a few techniques videos, really as much as a reminder to me. So these were things that I use occasionally but I'm likely to forget. So if I put a video up on YouTube and I've forgotten how to do something, I can just rerun my video. If other people find them useful, well, great. So basically there's a fair disparity in content. And having given it some thought, what I decided I would do is concentrate going forward on the pictures I take. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll see I don't get an awful lot of time to go out specifically to take pictures. So I tend to take images when I'm out with my dog or maybe out doing other things. And to that end, I tend to use portable cameras, and I'm concentrating quite a lot at the moment on micro four thirds, simply because of portability, particularly lens size. So that runs me into some issues of quality, particularly in situations of low light. So one of the things I'm going to do going forward is talk about how I post-process my images in general terms. That will be a fairly early video, and then talk specifically about how I process some of the images that I get under situations that perhaps are less than ideal, or where if I had more time and more money, I might use a full frame camera on a tripod, possibly with filters. So going forward, I shall look at producing videos, not necessarily weekly, but based on pictures I've taken in the immediately preceding period. I will go through the summary of the videos that I take and probably pick out one or two and just go through how I process them and what I'm looking to do. They will not be tips videos. I don't like tips videos, and just by way of a slight divergence, the problem with tips videos I have, some of the tips are very good, some of them are very poor, but the problem is if you put seven tips to perfection, it raises unrealistic expectations. And it's obviously a proven way to build a YouTube following, but I'm not particularly comfortable with putting these things together and leading people with an impression that I feel is inaccurate, that if you do these 5 or 6 things, suddenly you'll come away with beautiful pictures. Life's not like that, and hopefully that will come out of the pictures I put up. The other thing that I'm not going to do is I'm not going to talk about the sorts of thoughts that go through my head when I'm taking the pictures. I'd rather dissect the picture after I've taken it, rather than to try to create the myth that I go out with a set of criteria in my mind and I try to judge every scene against the criteria that I have. I think that's a recipe for failure. So I tend to shoot what catches my eye, and then after the event I tend to look at what's come out of it, what I've achieved, and maybe what's worked and what's not worked. But I very much go along with the Ansel Adams quote that our photography is influenced by all of our life experiences, everybody we've loved, every music we've heard, every picture we've seen. And I don't think you can encapsulate that into a simple set of rules. So that's not something I'm going to be doing. The other thing that has come out of the videos that I've watched, 2 things really. One is that I'm not too keen as a viewer on B-roll. I tend to fast forward through B-roll. The other thing is, as a photographer, I have no interest in taking B-roll. Simple motto of my life is that life is too short for B-roll. So I'm not going to do anything in the field involving B-roll. The only exception that would be if I'm doing some wildlife pictures involving a setup. I might do a short clip showing the setup, but you're not going to see me unloading my car, walking to a scene, and lots of pictures of me yomping along woodland paths. not going to happen. So I'm going to concentrate very much on the photos I take and what I get out of them. The other thing is I'm not going to put music in because I'm not particularly au fait with how to integrate music effectively into YouTube videos. And again, when I watch other people's, I quite often find myself turning the volume down during the bits where the music overlaps. I find it quite intrusive, so I'm not going to do it. The other thing I shan't be doing is doing gear reviews. What I might well do is some videos with some of the vintage kit that I've got, because I've been doing this for quite a long while, and I have some vintage lenses that date back to the 70s, and now with mirrorless cameras I have adapters to use all of those on my latest cameras, and you can get some interesting effects. So where I do that, I will describe the gear that I've used, but again focus on the pictures that I've got. So the next video I plan to put up, by way of drawing a line under what I've done previously, is a video that really concentrates on my favourite images from the last 5 or 6 years. I'll give an introduction to that. It will probably run for about 15 minutes, and it will probably contain somewhere around about 130 pictures. But there will only be about 5 or 6 seconds a picture. So that will show you the sorts of things that I've done and the sorts of things that you might expect going forward. But after that, I'm going to concentrate on the new stuff that I get. So I hope you find this interesting, and I hope you might be inclined to follow the journey going forward. But thanks for watching, and goodbye.